You're the newest partner here as of January 1, correct?
That's
so, and your area tends to be valuation as well, in general, okay? Could you talk a little bit about what that entails as far as the client is concerned, and maybe some things that are different in the accounting profession than perhaps what would have been the case with some of the more senior members of the staff?
In the valuation world, I guess one of the things that I don't know if you've talked about yet, but is it comes into play in the litigation a lot of times, in divorce cases. We see it a lot in lost profit cases where maybe there's a breach of contract and one party feels wrong and they feel like, if their business was able to have operated, that they would have had some profits that were lost. And so we often have attorneys call us to testify as expert witnesses in cases, and whether it be on a lost profit or a divorce, two couples splitting up, trying to separate the value of a small business. It can often be hard to value that business and the cost of it, dividing those assets up. So a lot of times, sometimes judges will appoint us to come up with a value, and sometimes we represent one side or the other in determining the value.
And I would assume that not only would involve, or could not only involve a married couple, but obviously business partners, maybe that could also be siblings that might be involved in a family business, that sort of thing. And when you say a judge appoints you, what typically is involved with that? Are you representing a specific client? Are you sometimes representing competing clients? Sort of explain how that works.
Sometimes we do represent one side or the other, and sometimes we'll just be appointed to not represent either side, and it'll just basically be whatever we come up with will be the value of that business. I will say this: whichever side we're representing, the value that we determine is an independent value. Whether we represent one side or the other, we're giving our expert opinion and non-biased opinion either way.
What are some of the advantages that Johnson Company brings to the table in this area that maybe people who may be facing a situation like that or could potentially be, that kind of sets you guys apart?
I think attorneys do not always understand sometimes the complicated financial matters and transactions, especially when it comes to business valuation, and I think it provides a stronger case for them when they're able to put an expert witness on the stand to testify to that, and also the experience we have in dealing, whether it be a jury trial and explaining financial matters to juries and those type of things, always, I think, creates a stronger case for their client. One of the things, as people my age, I guess, as they are getting older, they start having more and more complex financial transactions, whether it be retirement, financial planning. They are becoming the managers and leaders in their companies, and oftentimes they are looking for a CPA, and a lot of the CPAs in this area have gotten older, and it's their fathers or grandfathers CPA, so they're looking for somebody their age. They're looking for somebody maybe that they're not intimidated by, and I think that's one of the good things here at Jones & Company is me being the newest partner. And we also have some managers that are close to my age that we provide that service for younger clients. We also have started trying to provide technology. We realize that there's generational differences between the clients that their fathers and grandfathers were. We try to communicate a lot more by email. We now have a Facebook page. We send out a newsletter electronically. We've gone green here. That's one of the things that is important to the younger generation is that we consume a small amount of paper as possible. We try not to print out emails, and we do our tax returns and store them paperlessly on a secured-based website. And one of the new things this year is that you can now get your tax return actually in a CD instead of having a paper copy. That way, one, you save some trees, and two, it saves on storage space with the client. So those are just some of the things that we've tried to do to cater to the younger generation as they come up.
And I would think most people would never imagine that a CPA firm would be able to go to that extent on the paperless end. Because you think about, I always picture the filing cabinets and,
It's something new. I've noticed it's something that I think maybe some of the younger generation around here have embraced maybe a little bit quicker, but I think everybody, once we made the decision, has gotten on board, and it is. And we found out it can, not only is it good for the environment, but it can also save us costs too, with not having the massive amount of storage space and the massive amount of paper costs. So, and we found even it's a lot easier to track things now that they're digital and you're able to look it up. But a lot of industries are going to that. You see doctors' offices now and those type of things, and you have medical records that are digital now. So I think it's just one of those things, and I think we have kind of taken the lead in the market with the CPA firms. I know I go to a lot of national conferences, and that's often a subject that comes up, and I think even though that we're a smaller firm in maybe a smaller city, when you look nationally, we are often among one of the leaders in technology.